Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. The shows where we break down the latest science on health, fitness, and the human body into stories that actually matter for your everyday life. I'm your host, Steve, and today we are tackling a really fascinating question. Can combining aerobic exercises and resistance training actually protect the brain as we age? If you were ever wonder whether your morning work, your time on the treadmill, or your weightlifting session do more than just keep your body in shape, this episode is for you. Because today we are going to dip into the brand new meta-analysis published in experimental gerontology that look at over 2,500 older adults to find out if combining these two types of exercise, sometimes called congruent training or the combined exercise training, really boosts brain power in healthy older adults. Why does this topic matter? We are living in an aging world. People are living longer, and while that's the great news, it also means we also face new health challenges. One of the biggest is what issue? That is the cognitive decline. Things like the memory loss, slower thinking, or even dementia. The World Health Organization estimates that 25 to 30% of older adults are at risk of cognitive decline, and a lot of that risk is linked to an inactive lifestyle. That's where exercise comes in. We already know that aerobic exercise, think like the walking, cycling, or swimming, can improve blood flow to the brain and even encourage the growth of the new brain cells. And resistance training, like lifting weights or using resistance bands, helps us with the muscle strength, bone density, and metabolic health. But it also influences the brain through the hormones like the IGF-1, which is the insulin-like growth factor 1. So logically, combining the two should give us the best of both worlds, right? Well, not so fast. So what this study look at? A group of researchers led by Dr. Dean Liang and colleagues wanted to answer this very question. They conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis, which is basically the gold standard when it comes to summarizing lots of different studies. Here is what they did. First, they combined through over 30,000 studies and narrowed it down to 12 high-quality randomized controlled trials. And finally, they analyzed data from 2,557 healthy older adults aged from 60 to 89. The question was very simple. Does concurrent training actually improve global cognition? And by global cognition, we are not just talking about one aspect like memory. We mean the overall cognitive toolkit, including memory, attention, problem solving, and processing speed. So what did they find? The headline result is that concurrent exercise did improve cognition compared to doing nothing at all. But here is the truth. When compared to active control groups like those who only did stretching, healthy education, or single mode exercise, the improvements were not significantly better. In other words, if you compare exercise to sitting around, yes, it does work. But if you compare missed exercise to doing just aerobic or just resistance training, the difference isn't crystal clear. The researchers also found moderate heterogeneity, meaning that the results vary across studies, depending on factors like exercise intensity, frequency, or participant characteristics. So why might this be the case? The study offered a few possible explanations. First, the interference effect. When you combine aerobic and resistance training, your body has to adapt to two very different demands. Sometimes those adaptations clash, which could bound the benefits for the brain. The second is the cognitive fatigue. During both types of exercise might simply be mentally exhausting, leaving fewer resources for cognitive improvements. Last is the ceiling effect. The participants were already healthy older adults with relatively high baseline cognitive function, so there might not have been much room left for improvement. So what does this study mean to you? Well, now let's make the finding more practical. If you are an older adult or you are planning for a healthy aging, should you stop doing both aerobic or resistance training together? Absolutely not. Yes. Even if the cognitive benefits of concurrent training are not dramatically better than doing one type, the physical benefits are crystal clear. Studies show concurrent training improves gait speed, muscle strength, balance, and coordination. It also reduces trunk fat. These are critical for independence and quality of life as we age. Secondly, both aerobic and resistance exercise independently improve cognition. So if you enjoy doing both, you are covering your bases. And remember, doing something is always better than doing nothing. If the choice between sitting on the couch or doing a mix of cardio and strength training, the answer is always obvious. Get moving. Where the research is headed, the big takeaway from this study is that we still need to learn more about how to structure exercise for a maximum brain benefit. Future research needs to answer questions like, what's the better order? Should you lift weights before cardio or the other way around? Does exercise intensity matter more than duration? Do some people benefit more than the others depending on their baseline cognitive health? So the story isn't finished yet, but the evidence is pointing us in the right direction. Final thoughts. To write all things up, here is the key message. Concurrent aerobic and resistance training help keep the brain sharp compared to doing nothing, but it may not be significantly better than doing one type of exercise alone. That said, if you care about both your brain and your body, missing the two still gives you huge physical benefits, and possibly some cognitive ones too. So whether it's a brisk work followed by a few steps of squats or a swing followed by resistance band work, keeping moving and keeping challenging yourself and keeping your brain engaged. Because at the end of the day, exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have for healthy aging. Thank you for tuning in this channel. If you find today's episode helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friend or leave a review. It helps us bring you more science-based insights every week. Until the next time, and stay active, stay sharp, and take care of both your body and your mind. 现在为您朗读本周所要阅读的英文文献。The title is The Regular Effects of Concurrent Aerobic and Resistant Exercise on Global Cognition in Healthy Elderly Populations, a systematic review with meta-analysis of randomized trials. It's from the Experimental Gerontology. Abstract. Aerobic and resistant exercise are widely recognized as essential for preserving and enhancing cognitive function. However, the effects of concurrent exercise on cognition in older adults remain unclear. This systematic review sought to evaluate the regular effects of concurrent aerobic and resistant training on global cognition in healthy older adults. A comprehensive search was conducted across PubMed, Web of Science, Embase, Google Scholar, Cochrane Library, and CNKI up to July 2024. Randomized controlled trials involving healthy older adults aged more or equal to 65 years that assess the cognitive effects of concurrent exercise were included. The methodological quality of the included studies was evaluated using the Pedro scale. Meta-analyses were performed using a random effects model, and heterogeneity was quantified with the I-squared statistic. The initial search identified 13,533 records, ultimately including 12 studies in the meta-analysis, which involved 2,557 participants. The meta-analysis revealed non-significant effects of concurrent exercise on global cognition. The standardized mean difference equals to 0.12. The subgroup analysis indicated that concurrent exercise cannot enhance global cognition compared to active controls, but it does show significant improvement compared to passive controls. Moderate heterogeneity was observed, and sensitivity analysis confirmed the stability of the results. No significant publication bias was identified. While concurrent exercise was effective in improving global cognition in healthy older adults, the improvements were not superior to active control conditions. Future research should investigate optimal training combinations and sequences to maximize cognitive benefits.